Hello and welcome to the Bison Basketball Show. Thanks for being with us. I'm Brian Shawn. The North Dakota State men learned some tough lessons to open up the season in a loss at New Mexico State and return for its home opener against a talented UC Santa Barbara team that won 23 games last season. The Gauchos beat NDSU 85-66 in the season opener in Santa Barbara November 11th last year. Bison trailed by 6 early on as DeVerl Ramsey gets out in transition and finishes with the lay-in. Ramsey led UCSB with 13 points. But NDSU comes roaring back. Rocky Cruiser with a block on one end, leading to a Cameron Hunter basket on foul on the other. The Bison had 13 points off turnovers. Later, Jordan Horn feeds Tyson Ward for the big jam over 2 defenders as NDSU grabs the lead, and the Bison would never trail in the game again. Late in the first half, North Dakota State would go on a 10-0 run, Horn hitting the 3. He scored 10 points off the bench, and the Herd would take a 36-28 lead into the locker room. Cruiser, coming off a strong game against New Mexico State, was limited to 17 minutes due to foul trouble, but got the Bison off to a good start in the second half with the big jam. The Gauchos would go on a 10-2 run to pull within 5, but with the shot clock winding down, Jared Samuelson knocking down his only shot of the game for 3, that would start a 15-0 run. From there, the Bison cruised. Tyree Eady would collect the offensive rebound and fire back up a 3. He was 3 of 4 from outside the arc. Then with just over 5 minutes to go, NDSU putting it away, Ward on the break firing the cross-court pass to Dengu for the big finish. Gu with 16 points and 6 rebounds as well as the Bison roll 82-63, shooting 49% from the floor. North Dakota State's bench outscored UCSB's 46-20.
I feel like most the people didn't have the first game they wanted, so everybody was really determined to come out and just give it everything they got. It was really fun just going out there, the energy from the bench and on the court. It just made you want to play hard.
We don't care who gets the ball, who scores. It's just about the win, and I think that's what really sets us apart from a lot of teams. That first game against New Mexico State wasn't a good one, but we learned from it, and we made the adjustments, and we just brought the heat, and I think that we're gonna bring the heat for a long time.
We are now joined by NDSU men's basketball coach Dave Richman, and the Bison men coming off a very strong performance in the home opener against UC Santa Barbara. A talented club coming in here, a team with some confidence, had won a road game at Wyoming. But your guys 1 through 11, every guy that played, Dave, played with a lot of energy, with excitement on both ends. That had to be really encouraging for you to see.
It was a lot of fun, Brian. We talked to our guys, gave them a little lesson beforehand about, you're in the Red River Valley, and that probably doesn't mean much to the guys, but try to educate them a little bit. There's a lot of blue-collar people in the upper Midwest and in the Red River Valley in particular. And, Coach Kleiman talks about lunch pail kids, and we talk about that blue-collar mentality to just do all the little things. And from the feedback I got back from a lot of people, and just seeing it myself on tape and while in the game, it was fun. I thought our guys played hard. They played with great energy, and most importantly, they had fun. And I think that's a big thing. That's why you started picking up the game of basketball and trying to put that orange ball through the orange rim a little bit. And you and I talked about it off air, and a lot of people mentioned it. It was fun, exciting brand of basketball to be a part of.
I know the game at New Mexico State, there was going to be some learning lessons there. That's another very, very talented team. But maybe you could use some of those lessons in this type of situation for some of the young players and some of the young guys that are trying to figure out their way, right?
I would have loved to have won that game Tuesday night. Would have loved to for all reasons. Winning's fun, right? But in all actuality, that game was perfect for us. And I know that sounds crazy to a lot of people, but we played a really, really good program. We played a team that in my 15 years, I don't know if I've seen a team as locked in with a good mentality defensively as they were. And it was on the road. And we came out and got punched in the face a little bit. We didn't respond very well. And I think that taught us some lessons too. And the good part about it is those lessons our guys were paying attention to. If you go back to the UC Santa Barbara game, we were down 10-3 to start. And instead of panicking, instead of getting backed in that corner like we did Tuesday at New Mexico State, we responded a little bit. And that tells me our guys are learning and figuring some things out along the way, which is encouraging.
I was always curious to find out in the second half. You knew they were going to make a run, and they did. They get it down to 10, and things are kind of in a situation. And you're always kind of figure out, okay, which guy is going to step up here and make the right play? And it wasn't just one guy. Jordan Horn made a couple of really smart plays. Vinny Shaheed made a very smart play, just throwing himself into the lane and getting to the line for 2 free throws when he knows his team needed it. That had to be encouraging to see those new guys that have come in make real heady and mature plays in critical situations.
We knew going into the season our depth, versatility, talent, athleticism had really improved. And it's encouraging to see that, on the court, and that leads to a win. I thought really the defining play of the game, and going back and listening to you guys, and Steven mentioned it, with about 16:40 to go early in the second half, late in the shot clock, Tyson Ward makes a play to draw a two right at the top of the key area. And he kicks it to Vinny kicks it to Jared hits the three as the shot clock buzzer is going off. And I think in the past, a Bison team or even a more immature Tyson would have tried to, lack of a better term, puke up a bad shot. Instead, he trusted his teammates. And I think that trust goes back to he likes his teammates. And when you have that camaraderie, when you have that togetherness, it leads to great things.
Well, now you get to go to the Bahamas for 3 games in 3 days, and exciting opportunity to get and play in one of these tournaments. You haven't had a chance to do it in a while, but you look back over the years, the Bison have done well in these settings. Playing these games with the depth you have and the guys and the numbers you have, this will be interesting to see how this goes this weekend.
Yeah, no question it's going to be interesting. I think when you say we have had success in tournament formats, I think we have, and that's because we focus on North Dakota State. And that's what it comes down to, especially early in the year. I think the big thing, I've got to call in Tim Miles right now, waiting for a call back. I got to call in to Ben Jacobson, waiting on a call back, is to make sure that we understand that this is a business trip, yet allowing the guys some time and space to have some fun a little bit too in the Bahamas. So, our mentality is to go down there and win 3. This is a tournament format, and to come out of there as champions. And if we can enjoy that as much as possible along the way, that's the ultimate goal.
Well, we'll be thinking about you up here when it's 30 degrees. So.
I did see it's supposed to be a little bit nicer this week.
We'll take 30.
Yeah. I'll be thinking of you at 3:45 tomorrow morning when
you're getting on the
alarm
plane.
goes off. Yeah.
Well, thanks a lot for the time, Dave, and good luck this weekend.
Thank you, Brian. We appreciate it.
All right, stay with us here on the Bison Basketball Show. Maren Walseth and the Bison women had a couple of games at home to close out this homestand for the ladies. We'll recap that when we come back.
The Bison Basketball Show on Midco Sports Network is presented by Nodak Insurance Company and Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine.
Welcome back to the show. Maren Walseth and the Bison women's basketball team continued its week-long homestand with a pair of games at the Shack, starting with Creighton, a team that advanced to the second round of the NCAA tournament last season. It was the 10th meeting all-time between the Bison and Blue Jays, and first since 2012. A back-and-forth first quarter, Emily Dietz picking up the loose ball off the miss and putting it back in for 2 of her 8 points to trim the lead to 2. Then Michelle Geislerova got rolling, scoring 10 points in a 5-minute span to end the first quarter, including a pair of 3-pointers, and then a jumper late in the opening frame, and it's still just a 2-point game. Freshman Circling Rimdahl came off the bench to give NDSU a boost as well. She connects on the triple and scored 7 points in 30 minutes of action to get the Bison back within 4. But the Blue Jays finished the half strong. All Big East first-team selection Audrey Faber putting it on the floor and cruising in for 2 of her 17 points, a part of a 15-4 run. In the third quarter, Dietz drives hard on the baseline for the reverse lay-in to keep NDSU within striking distance. But the depth of Creighton wore the Bison out in the fourth quarter. Allie Green the steal. That leads to a transition basket on the other end as Temi Serta takes it all the way in for the basket and the foul. Serta added 14 points off the bench, and the Blue Jays roll to the 86-51 final. Creighton had twice as many points in the paint and outscored NDSU's bench 57-11.
I think we were having way more fun than we did a few days ago. The chemistry on the offensive end was so much better. I thought we made good passes. We got great looks. Obviously, we still lost, and that's tough on us, but I think we're improving.
The Bison looking to bounce back less than 48 hours later against New Hampshire to close out a 3-game homestand. Points in this contest hard to come by. Emily Dietz scored 6 of her 10 points in the first quarter, but was limited to just 17 minutes due to foul trouble. Ashley Story led the way for the Wildcats, scoring 12 first-half points, including this jumper in the paint. UNH led by 4 going into the locker room. Michelle Geislerova got rolling in the third quarter for NDSU, hitting 4 3-pointers, one of them giving the Bison the lead. It was just a 1-point game heading into the fourth quarter. And that's when Danica Vagley took over, scoring 6 straight points, set up by Riley Nudell for the lay-in to give NDSU the lead back. And then later, it's Marina Fernandez finding the sophomore from Winona. She had a career-high 16 points and 11 rebounds. The Wildcats had some opportunities to steal the win late, but the Bison coming up with some big stops. Fernandez taking it away with 9 seconds left to preserve the victory. NDSU hit 6 straight free throws to win it, 56-51. UNH did not make a 3-point field goal in the game, while the Bison bench outscored the Wildcats 18-0.
And I think that our past losses on the home floor kind of gave some people some questionable thoughts, but we proved our perseverance and we proved that we're capable of a lot. We just have to get over the hump of fatigue. Once we get over, it'll get easier.
We've been having a lot of fun in practice and everything, so it's a really big deal, especially after the last 2 games we've played. After a timeout, Marina would come up to me and say that the ball is going to you, we need to get it to you, so I think just having confidence in the post.
The Bison women will not play another game on their home floor until December 2nd against UMKC. Coming up next, we break down the weekend with Maren Walseth. You're watching the Bison Basketball Show. Welcome back to the Bison Basketball Show. We are now joined by NDSU women's coach Maren Walseth. The Bison women closing out a 3-game homestand this last weekend, starting with Creighton and then New Hampshire. And it was kind of fun to have those 2 programs come into the Shack. It'd been a while since the Bison had played Creighton, I think since 2012, and then never had the program played New Hampshire before. What was it like preparing for 2 new opponents you have not seen since you've been here?
Absolutely. It was great preparing for somebody like Creighton, who is an NCAA tournament team, more of a Midwest, I wouldn't call it a rival, but a Midwest team that people are familiar with. And so preparing for them and their style of play, which was a little bit different. They shot a lot of threes, was a challenge for us, but I think in some respects good for the preparation and get that kind of under our belt. And then a new team like New Hampshire, Coach McGarity and I know each other, but our programs don't know each other. So that was nice to have a new face come into the building, and I was very impressed with how we gutted that one out.
Yeah, talking about gutting that one out against Creighton, it was back and forth. Michelle Geislerova went off in the first quarter. It was 19-17 going bucket for bucket. But with only 8 bodies available for the game at that time, Maren, they kind of, I think, wore you down as time went on. But only playing 7 bodies on Sunday against New Hampshire and still finding a way to be proud of the way the kids bounced back 2 games within 48 hours to get that